Alrighty everyone, welcome back. We are now getting closer to the new year of 2023 where we have of course the Bad Batch 2, Mando 3, Ahsoka on the horizon, and even a handful of other announcements that will be made by John and Dave for the future of the Star Wars universe. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, there's no doubt about it that by far one of the most mysterious characters, at least in the Mandoverse, is indeed the character of Grogu, previously known as simply Baby Yoda, and a lot of fans have been really wondering about this character's true backstory, his true identity, and we've gone over this quite a bit of what's going on behind the scenes about his real name and about his true backstory and how Favreau openly stated that his ultimate true identity and his backstory will break the internet and be talked about for years. Now, with that being said, what's even all the more exciting has a lot to do with a handful of storyboards that have been illustrated for The Mandalorian Season 4 that reveals a lot about Grogu, aka Baby Yoda, aka Yorl, as we have discussed a couple of weeks ago, and also how this is going to actually involve his true home world name, his true species name, and a whole lot more on the horizon as well. Now, with that being said too, what's even all the more exciting about all of this is that Favreau and Filoni have a game plan. They have a plan to really set things straight and to really make it known to the fans exactly what they're about to do with the actual character of Grogu and what's coming to mind for all of them. Now, given that Mando 4 is by far the most important season, they gotta get this right. So, with both Favreau and Filoni focused on setting up some major revelations for both Mando Season 3 and 4, alright, especially for Grogu and Din Djarin, Favreau is said to have over 500 storyboards already for Mando 4 that is going to heavily involve the backstory of Grogu and his real full name. Now, further, it's described that in one of the storyboards, Grogu's species name is listed, and his real full name is also listed in a piece of storyboard that has been finalized to be used in the script. Now, Favreau and Filoni are currently settled on naming Grogu and not just Yorl, but also holding a last name in the Star Wars universe. And they got this idea from George Lucas. Now, Grogu's full name is set to be labeled simply as Yorl Minch. Before The Empire Strikes Back came to existence, Lucas's first name for Yoda was actually Minch Yoda. This is most likely a callback to all of that. Additionally, the Jedi gave Yorl the name Grogu based only on a handful of knowledge that Yorl had in his mind after it went dark. As it turns out, in this storyboard, Favreau and Filoni are setting things up that Grogu is actually, in fact, the name of Yoda, Yaddle, and Yorl's home world, and that this is the only thought that the Jedi could grab from Yorl's mind, and of course his species, which are now being geared up to be labeled as the Fob. The Fob species, something that Favreau and Filoni came up with for the home world of Grogu. Now let me just stop here for a second. This is a very interesting development for The Mandalorian Season 4, and I'm hoping that this is really going to agree with a lot of fans. I know this could very well divide some fans that want Yoda's backstory to remain mysterious or to remain very unknown. Now about this, let's just, spread things out a bit. Number one, alright, they're coming up with a last name for Yorl now. Yorl is Grogu, aka Baby Yoda now. Naming him Yorl Minch, and how it calls back to George Lucas's early treatment of Yoda being called Minch Yoda, I think is brilliant. I don't know about you guys, I never would have even imagined that Yoda or his species would even have something like a last name, but anyways, I can move past that. The thing that might bother some people is how the official name of Yoda, Yaddle, and Yorl's home world is going to be called Grogu itself. And yeah, I'm not really big on the name of that planet, that's just me, but I am 100% on board of how the Jedi came to name Grogu as Grogu, because when his mind went dark after Order 66 and a specific Jedi found him, and they didn't really know what to call him at the time. That's why they gave him the name, because the only thing that he could think about is his home. And it kind of connects, you know, to what Luke Skywalker was saying on Alsus in the Book of Boba, where he's like, do you remember back home? Would you like to remember? There's something in there, in his mind, in his subconscious, that is suppressed. Now, about this, too, his species being called the Fob. I don't know, call me crazy, it almost sounds like the space version of calling them the Frog. I don't know, but it is a very interesting name. It kind of fits the whole Yoda species and the overall mythology of it all. But let's dive into this further, alright? So, on top of this, the world of Grogu is described to be a swampy world much like Dagobah. And John and Dave are once again setting things in canon, by making a canon that this is why Yoda chose to exile himself on Dagobah, since it mimicked his home world, while also held a very powerful dark side cave that masked his location. Alright? Now, Yoral Minch, previously known as Grogu and Baby Yoda, is set to also have a big unknown revelation that is set to break the internet, according to Favreau, that will deeply impact the Skywalker saga. So, this is a very interesting development. I think a lot of fans out there should talk about Grogu being called Yoral, and not just Yoral, but Yoral Minch. You know, it's a nice callback to George Lucas's early idea of Minch Yoda, you know, before The Empire Strikes Back came out. So I like this. I think everything is great so far. The only thing that I do disagree with, and I will be honest, is the homeworld being named Grogu seems a little strange. I guess because we're already used to the character's name being Grogu in marketing and being said by Ahsoka and Din Djarin so many times, but I think that John and Dave are going to really change things up, and they're going to make us get used to this, and I think that there's going to be a time where even the deniers that don't necessarily agree with this will eventually warm up to it all. So we'll have to wait and see, but Mando 4 has a lot of things going for it. There are over 500 storyboards already created, many of which have been finalized, including this one for the script, as they are currently writing it still as we speak. So, the thing about this too is that there's also another big revelation on the horizon related to Grogu that is yet to actually reveal itself, alright? So, that is something that John and Dave are still crafting as we speak. They still got a lot to move forward with all of that and to make all of that happen. So that's one thing to be aware of, is that there's still a lot more surprises on the horizon for Yoral Minch, aka Grogu. But I gotta say, I mean, this is a very interesting set of revelations. I wouldn't say that they're necessarily shocking revelations that's gonna keep fans talking about it for years, but that's what the other revelation is for, that they're currently still working on. Exactly who Yoral really is, and exactly where he really comes from. So anyways, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.